You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Good morning, good evening, good day, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us. As always, my name is Paul.
And my name's Rob, and we're super excited to be here with you and grateful that you're spending a few minutes of your day with us. Thank you very much for doing so. We get a ton of joy out of sharing a little bit of knowledge with you guys and hopefully helping you out. To do that, we need your questions. AskDroneU.com. We know you got stuff on your mind. Get it out. Let it flow. Other people can benefit as well, so it's not just about you. But even if it is just about you, send in that question.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. There are a lot of subjects we still have yet to cover, frankly. I know that seems quite difficult to understand.
After 1,200 episodes.
But that said, there is really a lot that we have not covered, especially as drones continue to expand, as more and more people understand the true value of the tool. They're being used in more places. So send in those questions. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you to all the Drone U members and the community. Do appreciate it as always. That said, our question today is regarding something that we talk about a lot. In fact, we were doing a review yesterday of the Autel Evo 2 Dual Enterprise and the Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual Advance. And today's podcast is really relevant to that review because on paper, the Autel Evo 2 Dual Enterprise technically can fly longer than the Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual Advance. Now, when you actually go out in the real world, go to high elevation, like where we are, and you make it cold outside, thanks God, you realize that actually on paper is like most things on paper, and that is squashed by the practicality or pragmatism of the real world. Both drones landed at almost the exact same time. I mean, within 30 seconds of one another. And probably a lot of you are like, well, why is that? Well, the Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual Advanced can fly more days out of the year because of one simple feature. That simple feature is the self-heating batteries, right? It's also the fact that it's a 4S battery rather than the Autel Evo 2's 3S battery. I'm actually kind of stunned that Autel would put a 3S battery with the size of the Evo 2. The Evo 2 is an exceptionally large folding drone. Think of its wingtip to wingtip literally as big as a Phantom, if not even bigger. And so to add all that amperage draw off a 3S, it just seems interesting, to say the least. There's probably information that I don't know from the engineers, but it seems kind of like a no-brainer to just add a 4S battery, and then you would have even more flight time. Yes, less milliamp hours, but you would have less draw as well. Now, that said, it's relevant to today's question regarding, needing a mapping drone that can fly more days out of the year. This is why the devil is in the details, ladies and gentlemen. When you are considering buying an aircraft to conduct a job, you need to be considering the environment in which you plan to operate it. This is something that is overlooked time and time again, especially by new people who are put in a role of building a drone program. And because they are put in that role, they think that these drones are super smart and that, hey, Rob, don't worry, the battery percentage is going to give us everything that we need to know whether we're going to have a safe flight or not. That's the biggest load of I've ever heard in my life. Now, that said...
Feeling good today, clearly.
That said, no, it's a common error. I mean, I made the error too, right? I'm not trying to put anyone down for being new. It's just that blissful ignorance will lead to failure. And that has been proven 1,000 times over. My point is not to degrade people. My point is to say that when you're in these positions, you really have to consider all factors as best as you possibly can. And thinking about elevation, average temperatures throughout the year, average wind. There are certain areas on the West Coast where it's just constantly windy, and if you're trying to get a job done, the drones that we normally recommend may not really be suitable for you.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think today's question is so relevant, because the devil's in the details, and knowing these nuances is going to make all of you better pilots, better, drone program managers, better, more astute as a whole. And, the reason I say this, Rob, I know it can seem degrading, but
I don't think it does.
how many people have we seen come and go from this industry? And a vast majority of them came out super strong. I know everything. I know what I'm talking about. Come to find out 6 months later, they're no longer with the company, and there's a lot that they don't know. I think that this is one of those industries that you can't really go into it saying that you know it all, because this is the most heart-crushing, soul-crushing industry to be in if you have that attitude. I mean, there's one particular person I think of, but I'm not going to name her name, but who was, everyone at the FAA loved her. She's great, awesome, had one of the biggest executive positions at a very large UAV company, and now is not even in the industry 2 years later, and it's just a good reminder. We're not here to poop on people. We're here to say, look, if you want to succeed, you got to do it right from the start. And if you have made errors and mistakes, that's fine. That's fine. Own up to it. It's no big deal. The faster you do it, the faster you help yourself. Humility is one of those things that Rob has instilled in me, over the last 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. And I heard a quote recently that, true success is understanding that humility is the driver of that success. And I think this is just a perfect representation of that philosophy as a whole.
Yeah. I think that's...
Rob, are you speechless right now?
I was not expecting or ready for that, but yeah, it all makes a lot of sense. And
neither was I, but I was gifted with this information.
Gifted? Do you see it as a gift?
Are you trying to call me Pocahontas here, Rob?
Oh gosh, no.
Lost some coffee. Oh, don't worry.
Got me all excited.
It's on an FPV drone. It'll be fine.
Just takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
That's right. Not like the Mavic 3, though.
Oh, no.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good advice, which is, just don't be afraid to admit that you don't know everything, I guess, and learn from mistakes and respect the industry that you're in.
Well, I think this is one of the most technically savvy industries to be in. And, you could be in cybersecurity and talk up a storm, and people are going to be okay with that because of their lack of knowledge.
All I can think about is one time, and I've never talked about this on the show.
Here we go. This sounds so great right now. Like the lead up into this.
Oh gosh, when someone had asked to join our Facebook community, which is for our members, right? Which we're not on Facebook anymore, thank God.
Facebook.
We're in our own lave. Anyways.
They're just coming out swinging today.
Man. Anyways, and we were like, so we gave our normal message. Look, we'd really love to have you in there. It is for members only. And if you're interested in joining our community, we'd love to have you. This is how you go do that. And what he's like, he called me out specifically like, F you, Rob. I wouldn't join your whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh, yeah. And I was thinking, this is a great industry. This is awesome. Like, this is a real winner. And then I asked someone that we know really, really well. He's like, no, he's a pretty good guy. I'm like, no, he's not.
Yeah.
No, clearly he is not a good guy.
Yeah.
A good guy doesn't do that. And so when you when you talk about the technical aspects of this industry, it's all true. But every industry has its... why are we in this rabbit trail?
Hold on.
Why are we here?
One of our competitors recently did a story.
I hate talking about our competitors.
But hold on. Did a story on the importance of professionalism in this industry and how this industry is really...
What have I said for a long time?
I agree. But my point is not the focus on the competition. Like I was actually like, oh, I'm glad. Thank you for
Well
writing
done.
this.
Yeah.
Because I think it's something that needs to be said. I'm worried that a lot of the drone industry is turning into the real estate industry, where am I the only person that wonders why the hell do I need a realtor to buy a house? Like I can buy anything else in the world without the help of a realtor or the help of another person. And oftentimes I don't need their help and oftentimes supersede their knowledge. Anyway, okay, I digress.
No, it's one of Gianna's points earlier on when we were talking about moving to Colorado. I don't think we need a realtor. Let's just not even use it. Of course, now we have one. But
I think I'm going to get my realtor's license in Colorado because I will save myself 3% of $400K. So, I don't even, math wizard, how much is that?
3% of what?
$400K? So 12 grand?
For 12 grand.
I'll save myself 12 grand over some yappy, blah, 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 we're here to help you, blah, blah, blah. We'll inspect your home, make sure it's safe. It's like, do you use thermal? Okay, I can do a better job than you. So, anyway, I digress. My point is, professionalism is one of those things I think is something to be talked about in this industry because in the film business, if you're not professional at all, you get kicked off real fast or you end up, of real bullets in your gun and you end up shooting your director.
The film industry?
I think
see it as sort of a carny environment. That's what I've seen. Oh man, I think we should get to our question.
No, we should, but I just will say that I appreciate that someone brought up how important professionalism is, because one of the things that I have seen is that the most professional people are the ones who end up being successful. That was the entire point of bringing up that particular article. Woof, and honestly, so, just to hit your point, then we'll move on to the question about this guy who was a loudmouth, angry person. A lot of the people that I've seen on Facebook recently, I used to be mad at them because a lot of them go to Facebook to vent, and one of the things
that's what Facebook preys on, but go ahead.
I agree. And one of the things that I've learned recently is that a connection and dysfunction will never equate to growth, meaning that it's hurting you, not helping you. And that said, I used to be angry at all these people who know how dangerous and messed up social media is as a whole, especially Facebook. And yet they continue to use it. And you know what? I just have started to realize I feel bad for them. I feel bad for them because, they want this blissful ignorance of, I'm just connecting with my family and I'm just doing this. It's like, are you too stupid enough to realize that that information is actively being used against you on a minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, year by year basis? And the fact that you can't comprehend that goes back to what Thomas Jefferson said about democracy, is that the point in which people are too stupid or too dumb to understand what they're voting for, democracy is doomed to fail, which in my humble opinion, we're right on that path. And I start to feel bad for these people on Facebook who literally want to be blissfully ignorant and don't realize the damage that they're doing. And they will only come to regret and realize all the time that they spent on that social network rather than hanging out with their daughters or their sons or their family or reaching out to someone on the phone, anyway, okay, I digress. The point of all these things is 1, be professional. 2, don't use social media because it's a time suck. And honestly, I will tell you, after dropping Facebook for almost 2 years now, you'll be a lot happier. Trust me. That bombshell, we've got a lot to talk about. And this was a diatribe regarding mapping and an Inspire 2 and the importance of flyability on harsh weather days.
Hey, Paul, this is Brian from Chicago. So question for you. The upper management has finally gave me the go-ahead to upgrade my drone. I've been mapping with the Phantom 4 Pro for the last 5 years, and although I love it and I've gotten very good at it, we build power plants in some northern hemisphere locations where we're getting some high winds and some colder temperatures, where the Phantom 4 Pro, it's limited as far as wind speeds it can fly in. Anyway, I was looking into possibly getting the DJI Inspire 2 for mapping missions. I was looking for your pros and cons. I know you did an episode a while back, but it focused more on cinematic capabilities for video and photo for more marketing purposes. I'm strictly a mapper, and I want to know your thoughts, pros and cons, which camera, Inspire 2, or if you have any suggestions for a more versatile drone. Like I said, the upper management's given me the thumbs up to start getting quotes on some higher end drones to continue mapping at our company. Looking forward to hearing your answer. Thank you.
Brian, thank you so much, and congratulations on the permission to go get a cool drone.
Yep.
That's pretty exciting, actually.
Spend that money. Printer goes burr.
In all seriousness, this is a great question, and thank you for sending it in. Thank you for taking the time. And you're so right. I mean, while the Phantom Pro,
Phantom 4 Pro.
Phantom 4 Pro is a great platform for mapping.
Fantastic. Still the powerhouse.
Still the powerhouse, but there are days you're not going to be able to fly because of conditions.
Well, and I know from experience that if you're in like a 35 mile an hour gust or higher, apps like Pix4D Capture won't even let you actually fly the mission. They'll say it's too windy. And so I've had to personally manually fly those missions to get orthos in that environment. And I'm very glad I did. I sold that data like 3 times. But that said, what is realistic? When moving up from a Phantom to an Inspire, what is really realistic? The Inspire 2, because of the H-frame design, has a very, very stable and agile platform because that center of gravity just sits so low. It's one of my favorite drone designs of all time. And that said, the X4S camera is the exact same camera as a Phantom 4 Pro. So if you are looking to fly more days out of the year and still have decent flight time, the Inspire 2 will cover those windy conditions much better than a Phantom. I mean, that's clear. With the X4S, I think you can expect similar flight times, but as soon as you move into, say, something like an X7, your flight times are going to be reduced, okay?
Because of the weight?
Just because of the weight, yeah. The payload has increased, so you are going to see lower flight times. Now, that said, if you're in a cold environment, I'm not sure the Inspire 2 is going to help you as much as if you were in a warm, windy environment. And the reason I say that is just New Year's. I flew my Inspire 2. It was about 10 degrees outside and fully charged batteries. I got about 5.5 minutes of flight time with the X7. Okay. I love the X7. It's one of my favorite cameras. I just love that native ultra wide cinematic view. It's just so beautiful. But that said, I want to kind of give you like a if this then that model. If the environment is, let's say, warm, so it never on average gets below, let's say, like 25 or 30 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's windy, Inspire 2 will give you more days to fly out of the year. To get similar flight times that you're used to compared to the Phantom, you're probably going to want the X4S. If you're looking for more detailed imagery, and you're looking for flexibility in the lenses, let's say you're doing some power line inspections, maybe you want that 50 millimeter lens to kind of get that detail that you need. It's going to offer that flexibility as well. But let's go back to the model. If it's windier and it's colder, you might not get the flight times that you are expecting to get.
Expecting/needing?
/needing, yeah.
Because you can't get you can, I guess, go up and do half the process, but then you got to come back and start again. But it's a pain in the butt.
I think a lot of people here would be like screaming at me and be like, Paul, M300. And I mean, yeah, the M300 does have a powerful payload capacities. We're going to be adding that drone into our Don't Crash course for props pilots because it is a phenomenal platform and there's a lot that you can do with it. You know, in the wake of all this shenanigans that's going on with security, some people might be inclined to play it safe and go to a drone that offers the ability to fly in those higher winds, carry those heavy capacity cameras, and not, have too much cold drain from the batteries. They might be thinking about something, like the what is it called? The Watts Innovations Prism drone and the X8 specifically. So the Prism, but the X8. That said, with that X8, you're going to have extreme stability. You will have reduced flight times over the quad, but that said, you'll have the ability to fly all sorts of camera payloads and whatnot and have true flexibility. So, with all that to be said, I think I have like a weird turn of events here. I feel like my stance on certain drones to fly is pivoting because as I said in the beginning of the show, we just recently did the review of Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual Advanced and the Evo 2 Dual Enterprise. And I will say the best competitor to DJI that I've ever seen is that Evo 2 Dual Enterprise. I mean, it's unbelievable how similar it is and how intuitive it is to just pick it up and fly it.
Totally, because I did, and that says it was intuitive.
I wish you'd give yourself some damn credit here, Rob.
I had fun, though. I actually enjoyed flying it.
That's good. They have a couple of weird glitches, but all solvable with firmware. Like, for example, the customization buttons, you set them and they still don't work. So that limits a little bit of the functionality. But in my pivot to a new drone, the Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual Advanced, while it's a small quad, okay, you factor in the canard motors, the self-heating batteries, and it can actually fly in pretty crazy winds, It's going to be in the same bracket as the Phantom, but if the cold is a variable, what a powerful option. Like, seriously, what a powerful option. Now, that said, if the cold is an option and, you need more flying days out of the year, the M300 is not an Inspire. The M300 is just another quadcopter. Seriously. It does not have... It does not have the fantastic center of gravity that sits super low on the aircraft that makes it so stable. The CG is up very high on that bird. This kind of goes to why our electric car is so good at racing, right? Well, because the battery is on the very bottom of the car, putting a vast majority of the weight 6 inches off the road. No wonder why it can hit the apex at speeds way faster than a petrol engine, it makes sense. Same thing with the Inspire. So I think that there's a multivariate calculation here. Okay, you want to fly more days out of the year. Is that just because it's windy, or is it because it's windy and cold? Because now you have two different things to consider. And that said, I'm excited for our M300 to come in to provide potentially another option for callers like this. But my gut says still not a solution. So,
interesting. Okay.
Again, CG so high.
So if you're in his position, Brian's position, and you've been given this carte blanche to go buy what you need to do mapping in these environments, what will you do? You have to make the decision this week.
Well, I don't have the deliverable, Rob, so I would say, how do you expect me to make that decision without the deliverable?
Well, but he told you what he's doing. He's mapping. They build power plants. So he's mapping those environments, probably for all the reasons that they would map those environments.
He said he was from Chicago, huh?
Did he? I don't know. He kind of had a Midwestern.
Yeah, because we were joking about oh, hey, Bob, I need a new drone there, son. Can you help me?
Which, by the way, that is an accent of endearment.
Yes.
Because my wife's family is from that part of the world. I love it. Anyways.
I do too. I think it's
awesome.
funny. Yeah.
Actually,
it's better than a New Mexican accent. Ames, I'm going to need a drone, man. Can you help me?
I don't know. They all have their merits. But our good buddy PJ is from that part of the world, so.
This is very true.
He doesn't have that accent, though.
Hey, PJ, can you help me here with a drone job? I love it. I think it's fun.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
So if cold is something to think about, I'm going to be looking at a drone that is going to have self-heating batteries. And so I can't remember if the M300 does or not. I want to say it does, but I can't remember. I would be looking at an M300, or I would be looking at I think, the Prism drone is going to be the best American domestically built option.
Which there's a lot of reasons to look that direction.
A lot of reasons we can't talk about on the show. Wink, wink, double wink, triple wink, quad wink. Okay. So yeah, they're good. That said, you also have the FreeFly Astro. And if you notice, the Sony Airpeak, I haven't heard good things. but I haven't had one,
Really?
so I'm not going to say anything.
I didn't know that.
A lot of the people that I know that had deposits on getting one had pulled them out. So because of flight
unfortunate.
time issues and supposedly proprietary battery setup. This is probably also why they've been hesitant into giving us one, because they've started the conversation, but no follow through. So that said, if there's proprietary batteries, you couldn't buy, say, Tattoo self-heating batteries if they had them. But with FreeFly, I don't know if it's a proprietary battery or not with the Astro. But the thing is with the Air Peak that I was going to mention is if you notice, the arms come up pretty high, giving it that pendulum effect of stability. So if they can figure out their battery issues, that could be a solution for him. But I don't think it has self-heating batteries either. So,
All right.
So to answer your question, if I were making the decision, yes, I would probably just stick with the Inspire 2, and you're going to have to be super diligent. Is that the right word? Super focused on keeping your batteries warm in the vehicle on, running, whatever, for doing those drone jobs. I will never forget when I was flying in the 10 degrees and I came down to land, I put my my hand on the arm of the Inspire 2, and it was so cold, it gave me freezer burn. Seriously. And so these are the type of conditions that he's going to be flying in. And that's why I'm like, okay, windy is one thing. Inspire 2, X4S is your friend. But when you have the wind and the cold, even if you have self-heating batteries, you're still going to see reduced flight times. So there's really not a lot that you can do about that other than keeping your bird and your batteries warm at all times. So if you remember, the first Inspire had those thermal pads that you could put on the sides of the battery to keep them warmer. But that wasn't much of a solution.
Interesting. Well, I think of like when I smoke a pork butt.
Uh-huh. Oh, I got to try that new smoker, by the way. Thank you.
Yes, you do.
I cannot believe you bought me that. For Christmas, I literally open up this like $400 smoker. Like, here you go, Paul. You love cooking for us. So here, I'm like, oh, I'm like, dude, this is the best Christmas present I've gotten in a decade.
It wasn't $400, but it's a good smoker, and I enjoy it so much. I thought you would too, and I know you like to cook. But anyways, when you're done cooking, it's got to rest, right?
Yeah.
So one of the ways you rest it is you wrap it in towels and so forth, and then you put it in a cooler. Makes me think of the same thing you could do with batteries. You get them warmed up, and those coolers wrapped up, they'll stay really nice and warm for a long time.
I know that Costco has those coolers that you can plug into your like 12 volt, and they actually are a refrigerator. Do you know if there's any coolers that do heating by chance?
I don't know.
I bet Domino's is very interested in this.
Yeah, probably.
Keep those pizzas warm in the air. So, anyway, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for listening to my diatribes, but intellectually warmed up. I hope you are too. I want to hear some I want to hear some crazy questions that you guys have. Not crazy stupid, but crazy intellectual. Bring on those hairballed ideas. I want to hear them. AskDroneU.com.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll make we haven't talked about this, but I'll just make this commitment to you all out there that when you send in a question, it can sometimes take us a while to get to it, right? Just because of the number of questions that we get and so forth. And then the editing process. And then by the time it's released,
3 weeks
you're
later.
like, I'm like 3 drones removed from.
Rob, I already bought 10 Inspire 2s.
So what I will
wrong
commit,
accent. I already bought 10 Inspire 2s.
the first iteration was much better.
I agree.
Anyways, I will commit that once we record it in that first edit, and we have to do the first edit because there's some pre-show talk and stuff that we can't let out. But I will send the recorded audio as soon as that edit is ready, not waiting for release to the person that asked the question. Only the person that asked the question, but you'll get that early release of your answer as soon as it's available.
Executive veto.
No.
Yes. On that bombshell, that's going to do it for us today. My name is Paul. Seriously vetoing this.
No way.
Yeah, I sure am.
No, you're not.